Hi, I'm Jenny, and today we're going to talk about getting in your body. There are years I remember going by when I don't think I was ever really in my body. And what a shame to have missed out on deeply feeling and experiencing my life and the world around me for so long. But I can't be too hard on myself when I think of who that girl was and how much she was trying to cope with and figure out. It definitely took me years of jumping around and being a generally wibbly-wobbly person who was searching everywhere but inside of herself for direction and meaning to get to a place of maturity and perspective where I could actually take a step back and see myself clearly, to understand the larger picture of my life, see how I'd been keeping myself detached from everything that truly mattered. For real, I was almost 40 by the time I realized that I had to give myself permission to disconnect from a lot of the superficial things in my life that weren't doing anything for me but keeping me lost and distracted, and turn inward to connect with the real me and discover the satisfaction that had been eluding me for so long. This all sounds very grandiose, so I apologize if my language doesn't necessarily resonate with you, but that's just the kind of mind that I have. When I am tuned in, tapped in, turned on, as Abraham Hicks would say, my mind is in some vast romantic place where the biggest and most important questions in the cosmos are being understood, and where every moment is some beautiful slow motion scene in a movie playing out with the perfect score. I speak and think about things very grandly, but in reality, my life is not all that fantastical. I'm just trying to figure it all out like you. Or I assume like you, since you probably wouldn't be watching videos like this in the first place if you weren't similar to me in that aspect. So back to the topic of being in your body. This is a term you hear a lot when you're in the wellness or spirituality world, and it's rather vague, but in general, I interpret it as being in a state of presence, where your consciousness and your physical world feel very connected. And in its highest form, it's like your energetics are aligned so that your mind and your body are like one. And you're comfortable, you're able to feel subtle things in your body and in the energy around you. Your intuition is stronger, your anxiety is lower. You can sit with yourself and not feel the need to distract or disconnect from what you're experiencing. You can cope better. Everything feels more even. For me, I know I can breathe easier. I feel more peaceful. That's how I feel when I'm really in the zone after like a great meditation or a yoga class or a really beautiful walk in nature or a session of like focused journaling or intention setting or something like that. If I keep up with those kinds of daily practices, I can stay present and in my body for longer, but I can just as easily fall out of it if my life is disrupted, put through some kind of big stress, or I get out of just the habit of doing things that put me in my body. And that's okay. I think it's natural to pop into a state of distraction when you have to deal with very real things in the world. But I wanted to make this video to share with other people who may be in this cycle how important it is to be able to recognize when you're going down the path of disconnecting and distracting yourself, just to start making the small change of being aware enough to say, hey, am I picking up my phone to scroll because I'm trying to avoid doing something that's giving me discomfort? Is there a better way to deal with this feeling than disconnecting, distracting, or ignoring it? And I apologize if my dog is making noises, by the way. She's rolling around on the floor right next to me, having herself a grand old time. Precious. So I know in these moments it seems so easy to turn off your intuition, or messages from your body, or messages from your literal brain that's trying to tell you that you need to deal with something. I know that because I do it too, believe me. But when you make the decision to do that over and over, day after day, you eventually start living a life that's full of empty and unfulfilling distractions. And this was me. For most of my late 20s and early 30s, I was struggling with feelings of anxiety and depression, because I wanted to do so many things with my life. My mind was constantly coming up with fantasies and scenarios about all of the fantastical things I could be doing. and I thought about it all of the time. But in reality, I felt so stuck, powerless to make a lot of the changes that would allow me to do what I wanted to do. And I became so unhappy that I checked out. I checked out. I ate junk food daily. I drank every night. I watched trashy reality TV. I stopped journaling or thinking about almost anything reflective, and I didn't work out or spend time in nature. My life just turned completely into the opposite of what my soul really wanted, because I made the decision over and over again to stay disconnected from myself. So what did I do, and what can you do when you get to a place where you're capable of recognizing this pattern and that you know you need to change it? My example is also definitely extreme. You could be doing actually pretty well, but still struggle sometimes with things like social media scrolling as an escape mechanism. And maybe you just want to look at that one habit or something like that. In my case, I began to age into my later 30s, and as I did, my perspective on life changed a lot. I started caring so much less what other people thought. I realized that a lot of the choices I had made in life that felt inauthentic to me and were causing me to feel this friction that I wanted to escape from had been choices that I made for other people, to try and please them or to fit into some mold. And I took a step back and started taking a couple of minutes at the beginning or the end of my day to just sit on my bed by myself. Take a few breaths. Maybe journal about the things that felt good in my life, the things that I was grateful for. Just noticing those things. And it started to feel easier to express things that I actually wanted and was starting to recognize that I wanted as part of that process. I remember one of the first times I used this process to actually make a change that felt aligned and how empowering it made me feel to do that. It sounds silly, but it was actually just realizing that I hated the way my bedroom was decorated. I hated it. I've been using the same brown comforter for years, decorating my bedroom walls the same for years, and sleeping on a bed without a headboard for years. And when I actually sat with myself, no distractions, not trying to escape from the discomfort of actually voicing that something was bothering me, allowing myself to be pissed that I'd gone so long in this bedroom that I really didn't like without even being able to say it out loud, and giving myself permission to actually admit what I wanted, I felt instantly more alive, more present, more intuitive, more in the moment, and more in my body. I thought, well, Jenny, what do you want your bedroom to look like? And the answer just came to me so clearly, it almost knocked me over. I was like, yes, this, I can see it. And the best part after that was when I was able to actually make those changes. I threw away that awful brown comforter. I redecorated, I got new furniture, and I bought myself a freaking headboard. And it felt amazing to create this space that was now more authentic to me, that I felt more excited about and connected to, and that I was more at ease in. And I only got there because I was able to recognize that I'd been avoiding dealing with how I felt about the problem for years, because I didn't want to be too needy or loud or inconvenient. Maybe because I'd been in a disempowered state and honestly felt like I didn't deserve to have a voice. So I gave myself some space and time to just be with myself, calmly and quietly feeling into how I really felt and what I really wanted, just by sitting alone, turning off the TV, closing the door, putting away my phone, taking some deep breaths, and allowing that small, quiet voice in my head to finally speak. Then I was able to make an aligned choice that led to a happier and more present Jenny, rather than an unaligned and unhappy Jenny. The process of reviewing my life like this and trying to slowly replace all of the things that I'd picked up as a way of checking out of my body and my present is still something that I'm going through. And not one that you're going to be able to do all at once, but it's something you can do if you've realized that there are things in your life that just aren't serving you. If you're on your phone too much, try to start just being a little bit more intentional with how and when you use it. I recently realized that I had started checking my email reflexively all day long. What a horrible habit. I hate that. I don't want to be checking my email every 5 minutes. So why am I doing it? Is it because I'm bored, trying to ignore a task that I know I need to do, trying to escape from the pressure of something I'm not dealing with? Yeah, that sounds like me. So I'm trying to catch myself when I go to pick up my phone and instead take a minute, put my phone down, put a hand on my heart, take a couple of breaths, and ask myself, what are you doing? What do you need? What can we do instead? Just that. And I swear it always helps me jump back into my body and guide myself back towards something that is more aligned. Because I can hear myself now when I ask myself those questions and I give myself a little bit of time and space to listen. So it's those little choices day after day that will help you ditch the things that are not serving you and create a life that's ultimately more authentic and connected to who you are and what fulfills you and brings you joy. And if you want a cheat sheet of how I suggest you get into your body quickly if you're feeling disconnected, my go-tos are yoga, especially a group class, walking in nature, sitting outside, deep breathing, meditation or breath work, lighting some candles or incense and doing some journaling, doing something exhilarating or grounding that you're super into. Like for me, it's dancing or making music or painting or crafting. Oddly, sometimes cleaning. I don't know. I'm not a sporty person, so for me, I think it's doing something that's like physical and focused. But if you do sports or like swim or bike, something like that, they would probably be really great too. And finally, I just want to say that you're doing great, no matter where you are on your journey. If not every day is good, if you don't feel connected and aligned all the time, if you want to sit on your couch and eat some ice cream and watch a period drama because you're not feeling great, maybe you're struggling with something, that's okay. I've actually been having a rough couple of days myself because I've been a little sick and it's left me with very little energy to do the things that I normally do. And I was feeling out of my body, literally. I just binged all of Sanditon and spent 2 days watching fan edits on YouTube and barely moved. And that didn't feel great. But just stepping back and centering myself and deciding just to think about this topic today already has me feeling better and more in my body. Before I filmed this, I went on a walk and I drank some water and I said to myself, okay, I can do this. I can brush my hair, I can set up my camera, and I can talk for a little bit. And now I'm starting to feel like myself again. I think that's really what being in your body is when you break it down to the basics. What feels like you, what doesn't. When you're not in your body, when you're not present, you don't feel good. You don't feel like you're moving forward and you don't feel like you. But I believe that everyone can figure out how to get back to themselves. I've shared what that means for me and how drastic the improvements to my life have been from cultivating this practice. And I really hope that this video helps motivate you to figure out what that is for yourself. So good luck. Thank you for watching. And let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, because I would love to hear from you. I really appreciate you watching and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much.